Hello, my name is Isaac Wiebe. I am a national candidate master from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and this series features some of my games at the 2015 Winnipeg Open. The Winnipeg Open was a grueling 9-round tournament held every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Each and every game was a tremendous challenge. I managed to win the whole tournament, but not all the games, which is why they serve as good lessons moving forward. Even the games I did win feature some well-rounded fundamentals in the endgame. This is the round 1 game, the first game of the tournament. I was facing Ken Einarsson, a strong intermediate player. Ken has given me lots of trouble in the past because of his great attacking play. He plays very, very viciously. He goes after my king like he has nothing to lose. And in all honesty, he doesn't. He's the lower seed. I'm the higher seed. If I lose this game, then it's a tremendous upset, and I possibly can't win the entire tournament. To win, I know I must play well defensively, or winning the tournament could come to a close. The game started off with pawn to d4, pawn to d5, pawn to c4, pawn to c6, knight to c3, pawn to e6, pawn to e3, knight to f6, queen to c2. This is the anti-Maron variation of the semi-Slav defense. Knight b d7, knight to f3, bishop to e7. Now, in the Maron defense, what black typically wants to do, and I should have done this already, is play d takes c4. The reason behind this, of course, is after bishop takes c4, I grab space with b5, and no matter what he does, I'll eventually play bishop b7, followed by pawn to a6, and pawn to c5. And that will really open my game up, in which the bishop has a nice scope on this b7 to h1 diagonal. However, this was not played, and I allowed for pawn c captures d5. He immediately squashes the possibility of me becoming more mobile with my pieces. So after pawn c takes d5, I capture back e d5, and simple development continues. Now at this point, I would like to say that white is clearly better. His forces are a little bit more developed. Mine are still kind of not. And his pieces are a lot more central. Okay, with knight g5, he threatens knight takes e6 to win the bishop versus the knight, and in an open position, the bishops are worth way more than knights. And at this moment I was starting to panic, because he's starting his attack now. I really have no attack myself, and being an attacking player, I always love to have some counterplay to make for a very interesting game, but I know at this point now I must adjust my mindset and become more of a defensive player. So I try and trade off my somewhat bad e6 bishop for his very active e4 bishop, eyeing my king side, with bishop to d5. Now after bishop takes d5, I was about to make a mistake that would have lost me the entire tournament. I would have played c takes d5. In fact, I had my hand hovered over the c6 pawn, ready to capture back, and at the last moment, I know that this loses actually, to rook takes e8. Check. He has won a rook now. After queen takes e8, queen takes c8. I'm down to rook for no obvious compensation. There's no back rank mate. The game is over. I instead played rook takes e1 check. And after rook takes e1, c takes d5, attacking the queen on c2. Queen to f5. Now he's really starting to make some serious threats. He has a slight threat against the d5 pawn, which is very weak. He also has a threat against my f7, attacking the king, as I presumed he would do. So right now I had to kind of collect myself here. I know that I simply cannot have him run amok on my king side. So I played the very nice solid move, rook to c7. Thinking I'm alright. He cannot take on d5 because of bishop h2 check followed by queen takes d5. Instead, he tries to further his own attack with pawn to h4. Now, I'm kind of nervous now. He's probably threatening knight to pawn to h5, and then pawn to h6 perhaps, and his attack is really starting to pick up steam. I played the very brave move, pawn to h6. Now, I'm having some faith now that my pieces are very well enough to defend my poor king. Knight takes f7, a very nice tactic by Ken, because if I were to play rook takes f7 now, queen takes g6 wins a pawn with threats such as bishop h6, and my king is not really safe. So I play the nice counter-attacking move, knight takes h4. Now, he's attacking my queen, I'm attacking his queen, my queen's defending the knight. There's so many tactical opportunities here. It's really sharp. But can I play very well defensively and weather the storm? Knight takes d8. I was very relieved when he played this move, because now I can enter into a very nice endgame after knight takes f5. Look at the positions of the knights for a second. His knight on d8 isn't really doing anything. It only has the one square they can move to. While my knight on f5 is hitting d4, it's kind of nice and centrally placed. I think I'm a bit better in this ending. The one move I was not too sure about is knight takes h6 check. After g takes h6, it seems like everything is up in the air. He has threats such as perhaps queen g4 check, queen d5, queen takes d5 check, another possibility as well. And right now it seems very, very tough to defend, but I have moves. The nice thing about rook c7 is that I can play rook g7 wherever I want to and attack the g2 pawn and still be solid here. I'm liking my defensive chances. However, I think this may have been his best shot, rather than enter a very bad ending. So after knight takes h4, knight takes d8, knight takes f5, we reach the ending stage. Knight to e6, rook to c2. Now I'm attacking his b2 pawn, and after bishop to c3, I play the nice move, bishop takes a3, winning a pawn. Especially what's nice about winning this pawn is it's an outside passed pawn, which means that he'll have to move all his forces to try and stop it. Well, technically it's not a passed pawn yet, but if b2 falls, then it would be, and he would have to pay considerable attention to these pawns, while I can perhaps move my army elsewhere. Rook to b1, bishop to d6, knight to d8, pawn to b6, knight to c6, pawn to a5. I'm now advancing the unopposed pawn and trying to make some activity happen with perhaps a4, a3, and a2. Rook to e1, pawn to a4, knight to a7, pawn to a3, knight to c8, pawn a takes b2, bishop takes b2, rook takes b2. So now I'm clearly dominating in this ending, in which I'm simply up a piece with a nice passed b pawn. He has no compensation here whatsoever. Rook to e8 check, king to f7, knight takes d6 check, knight takes d6, rook e5, rook b5, king f1, g6, g4, knight c4, rook e2, rook b2, and the game is over, as Ken resigned. So, in conclusion, I think how to handle a tough attacking player is you simply have to make sure that your pieces are in very good squares to defend. I like the one move, rook c7 here, way back here, because it defends f7, and if he tries his h4 idea, I could play h6, and if the knight takes h6 check idea, and after g takes h6, I can play rook to g7, which is another good solid defensive move. Sometimes it's not about trying to force a win. Sometimes it's just about keeping the balance in the position and generating nice counter-attacking chances. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.